All right, so you did it. You've got the plan, that perfect, brilliant roadmap to success. But here's the thing. A map isn't the journey, right? The real work, the part where you turn that dream into an actual breathing thing, well, that starts now. So let's talk about your first and probably most critical moves. I know, you've heard this a million times, right? Location, location, location. But there's a really good reason it's such a classic piece of advice. Think about it. Before you even think about hiring your first employee or designing a logo, you have to answer this one huge, fundamental question that literally grounds your business in the real world. And that is, where are you going to be? And look, it goes so much deeper than just finding a cute storefront with good foot traffic. This one single decision, man, it impacts everything. We're talking your costs, who your customers are, your employees, your entire operation. It's a massive domino effect. So what should you actually be thinking about when you hear that old phrase? Yeah, this really nails it right here. The sheer weight of this choice. This is not like, picking some new software that you can just cancel next month if you don't like it. Nope, this is a strategic, long-term commitment. It's going to involve a huge financial investment. And here's the kicker. It's pretty much irreversible. There's no undo button. Getting this wrong can be a really costly and sometimes fatal mistake for a new business. Okay, so how do we get it right? Well, we need a framework. Let's think of what's coming up as your ultimate checklist for totally nailing this decision. We're going to break down every single factor you need to have on your radar. First up, let's talk about the simple flow of stuff, in and out. Let's start with out. How close are you to your customers? I mean, if your product is super expensive to ship, or say it's food that spoils quickly, being nearby is absolutely critical. Now let's flip it and look the other way. Can you get your raw materials easily? Being close to supplies that are heavy, bulky, or perishable, that can literally save you a fortune. All right, next up, people and infrastructure. A business is just an idea without its people, right? So does the local area actually have the talent, the skills you're going to need? And what about the absolute basics? Reliable power, decent water supply, banking facilities, and of course, transportation. If your employees, your suppliers, and your customers can't get to you easily, you're basically building on quicksand. And you have to remember, you're not operating in some kind of a bubble. You've got to look at the bigger picture. What's the deal with the local government? Are there any incentives, like tax holidays that could help you out? Is the whole area politically stable and business-friendly? And then there's the big one, competition. Are they nearby? Because that could be a threat, or it could be an opportunity, drawing in more customers to the area. It's a real balancing act. And look, we can't forget the modern essentials. These are huge now. First, climate. And I'm not just talking about whether you'll need a jacket. Some industries, like textiles, for example, actually need specific humidity levels to work properly. And then, the big one for today's world, high-speed internet. This isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's not a luxury. For pretty much any e-commerce or tech business, it is an absolute non-negotiable. Okay, so let's say you've picked your spot. You've found the perfect location. Now it's time to build the engine that's going to run inside that location. We're officially shifting gears from the where to the how. It's all about designing the process that'll make your business tick day in and day out. I really love this analogy because it makes so much sense. If your location is the house, the physical structure, then your business process is how you actually live in it. It's the flow, the daily routine, the system that turns 4 walls and a roof into a functioning home. It's that set of repeatable steps that creates value time and time again. So what are we really talking about when we say business process? Honestly, it's just a fancy term for a series of tasks done in a very specific order to get something done. That's it. Think of it like a recipe. It's the step-by-step guide for how you deliver your product or your service consistently, every single time. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you actually build one from scratch? It can feel super overwhelming, trying to think of every single little step. But trust me, it's way simpler than you think if you just break it down. Let's use a really easy, hands-on example to see what I mean. Let's take a burger joint. It's perfect. Step 1, you have your inputs, the buns, the patty, onions, tomatoes, all that good stuff. Step 2 is preparation. You got to chop the veggies, fry the patty, toast the buns. Step 3 is assembly. You slap on the sauces, you build the burger. And finally, step 4 is fulfillment. You take the order, hand over the burger, and print the receipt. See? It doesn't matter how complex your business is. At its core, it's just a series of steps just like this. So why even bother mapping all this stuff out? What's the point? Well, because a really well-planned process is basically the secret sauce to a healthy business. It lets you cut costs, slash the number of errors, and just make everything way more efficient. It's how you turn potential chaos into a smooth running machine.
So here it is, your blueprint for action. 4 simple steps. First, identify. Get a bunch of sticky notes and write down every single input, every task, and every output. Just get it all out of your head. Second, map. Grab a whiteboard and start sticking those notes up, arranging them to create a visual flow. Third, connect. Draw lines between the steps to show exactly how everything moves from one stage to the next. And finally, refine. Get your team together, look at the map, and find the gaps. I'm telling you, this simple exercise can be totally transformative. So, there you have it. We've covered the 2 foundational pillars for taking your plan and making it real, picking the right place and building the right process. So now, the spotlight really turns back to you. I want you to forget the 5-year plan for just a second. Just based on what we've talked about today, if you had to launch your business tomorrow, where would it be? And what would be the absolute first step in your core process? Really thinking about that, answering those 2 questions, that's how you stop planning and start doing.